Aha!
Aha! Here we are. Oh, shit. My bad. Oops.
Let's talk about it, baby.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Back to school. HBCU. Okay.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Here we are, the Real World University,
Yeah.
bringing to you our special edition,
Mm-hmm.
the College 101 experience. Hopefully, we'll be talking to our, our high schoolers, our parents of our high schoolers who are getting ready to experience the collegiate experience and all of the wonderful things that go with it. That is our goal here. That is our
Understood.
goal.
Understood. Understood.
Understood.
Understood.
Understood. What needs to be, what do they say? What doesn't need to be explained? What? What's understood doesn't need to be explained. There's a lot
What's
that's not,
understood
there's,
doesn't need to be said.
doesn't need to be said. Well, there's a lot to be said because there's a lot that's not understood. That's why we're here.
Yeah, man. Something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. Okay, so we're going to give people some time to hop on in and
Y'all come on and get some of this good stuff. We here. I'm
join
here.
our
They are
class.
here. We are here. We are good people. Two, it could be a problem, but three is some good company. It's your main man, Andy Brown. If you paid your phone bill and you know what to do with your cell phone habits, go on and follow us on social
I
media
love it when you
platforms. Get down, do what we do. Hit us with a little bit of clash. Y'all know what that means. Click, like, and subscribe to the channel, which is the Real Real University on social media platforms. If you don't know how to find that, this is not the platform for you.
facts. Absolutely,
But
absolutely,
we are
absolutely.
here. It's the life coach. It's the online dispensary man, the author, the best-selling dude himself, Mr. Andy Brown Speaks. You hit me up on social media. I'm going to be there. We have some wonderful ladies who do what they do. They introduced me to the platform, and I have not left yet. So let me
We are
tell y'all
glad.
what's going on. The lovely and talented Miss Lovely Mia Ferguson. What's up, lady? Head nod.
Hey, hey, hey.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling blessed and great today. I'm awake. My
Mhm.
eyes opened.
I know, right? I'm good like a bottle of grape juice up in here. And also going to be facilitating these fundamental foundations that we going to hit y'all with is the lovely Tyan up in the building, the blonde bombshell. What's happening, lady? How you feeling?
Hey, hey, your favorite HBCU auntie is ready.
Yes, we are.
Hopefully, we
We are.
can get some good conversations going on. Hopefully, you guys will have some tips that will make a difference in making things easy to navigate. And whenever you guys are ready, let's go. Let's get a sense of who we've got in the live. Who we got going on? We got some hearts, we got some folks, we got some names. What we got?
Mm-hmm. We got a few thumb likers up there that are just clicking their thumbs. We're getting a couple likes, getting a couple love.
Oh,
We're gonna chime in. Welcome into the room. We can see us on YouTube. We're there. Hit us on IG. We are there. Right here on this platform. We're gonna be everywhere that we are. So share this like a virus, folks, because we're going around. We're getting viral, and we're
I
gonna be
love
real.
Andy.
Yeah,
I love
that's what we
Andy.
do.
Super
That's what
duper
we do.
shout out to the Stephen Marjorie Harvey Foundation for allowing us to host this information session, doing what we do with the village. That's what we're here for. So hopefully you will walk away with a new home, a space to come to when you have questions, comments, or concerns about the college experience. You are about to get a handful of information that will just help you navigate your high schooler through this process, but also for our students who are in school, I'm sure you'll get a couple of tidbits. And as Andy said, please like, share, and follow our page for we share all of the things that are representative of the college experience. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started because Tyan has a lot to say. And when I tell you this lady has a lot of information, she's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got the hat.
Whoop.
Okay.
All right, all right. So, for those of us that are parents of high school students making that transition into college, let's start there. We're going to start with a little bit of the college application process. And even though if you feel like, hey, I went to school myself, I know what I'm doing, things have changed so much. And when I say changed so much, even within the last 5 years for the whole process. So I'm going to speak to you from a perspective of what to expect now within these next 2 years. So again, the application process is not literally, calling the school, asking them to send you an application. Everything's online now. With that, there are also some platforms that, quote unquote, try to make it easy for you to apply for multiple schools at one time. So there's the Black Common App, and then there's the Common App. One tidbit that I can give you is all schools are not on the Common App or the Black Common App platform.
They aren't?
So while your counselors might just say, oh, just go ahead and do the Common App, it'll save you money, go ahead and do the Common App. Basically, you can, knock all of those birds off with one stone. No, because all schools are not on the Common App. All schools, all HBCUs are not on the Black Common App. So what you want to do is, one, find out, because again, if you can use the tool, it can save some time. But you want to find out if they accept it or if they want you to go directly to their site to fill out their application. Because another reason why they may want you to go directly is because what they'll do is start a student portal for you from that application. So one, they really want to know that you're interested. Two, they want to be able to give you instructions on how to upload all of the documentation that you need for your application to be properly evaluated. Now, second tidbit I'm about to give y'all.
Come on with it.
During the pandemic, a lot of things happened, and the College Board said, hey, these college admissions tests, they're not really that necessary anymore.
What?
That is a lie.
What?
A lot of schools don't require you to take the test. They are test optional, but that will be probably the deciding factor if there's a whole pool of other applicants that are vying for that last spot. If you took the initiative to test, that could be the one up point that you need to get in. And two, any merit-based scholarships that would come along with the application process, you would not be automatically considered if you have not tested. The school may not require testing for admission, but the scholarship aspect of it and the scholarship application, they want to look at your scholastic achievement, including your testing, to see if you are eligible for funds.
No, Tayon, can I interject right there? Because I want to give one example. I did a little test. I called 4 HBCUs. I picked just various ones. And that is not something that they tell you, which is why the Real Reel is here, because what they will allow you to do is to apply, get accepted, and then just funnel you through the financial aid process. In all actuality, because you have admitted yourself from being available for scholarships because you did not take ACT, SAT, so on and so forth. So I think that I just want you to repeat that one more time so people understand that I was gracious to hear that they were going to eliminate that testing. But when I found out that the schools do require it for scholarships and that they weren't telling the students that, I had a serious problem.
I can see
because not only that, just to interject, and I will make that point again, just as you requested. Schools may be test optional, but for additional consideration for scholarships, you need to test. And what I will say with that is, they still will allow super scoring with those tests, meaning you could take the test multiple times to improve your chances for those scholarships if you have applied and submitted those scores within the window of acceptance. And another point that I wanted to make is, not only are the schools not requiring it, but think about it. If you want to apply for some private scholarships, they still want to see, and that will be a part of their scholarship process, seeing your test scores. So again, you want to be prepared. You still want to test. And quite honestly, I mean, and anybody throw it up in the chat, around your sophomore year as a requirement for high school graduation, I think it's still required that you take at least the PSAT.
Correct.
or
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
PSAT. So that will give you that'll give you a guide to how you may score. But again, ACT or SAT if you want additional fundings.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a preference for either or. Being a former admissions officer myself, I'll say what you're most comfortable with, but I also encourage you taking it more than once. Maybe that test year is your junior year, and then you take it again in your senior year and that fall of that senior year again to see if you've improved, to improve your odds of getting those merit scholarships.
Correct.
They really need to know
So
where this money
again,
is coming
please
from. I feel
don't
you on
think
that.
So please don't think that, they've just let me in. I've been admitted. But, if you want considerations for that additional funding, please take the other step. And like I said, as a former admissions officer too, if I've got two students that are literally vying for that last spot, I'm probably going to give grace to the person who took some additional steps to make sure
Yes.
that their application process is complete. And I had another form of something to evaluate off of. So
Because it really
it
is
can
just a
never
whole
hurt.
process of elimination. It
So
right, Tyan? It's more like it's a process of elimination. It's like we only have this pool of money that we're giving away, and so in order to delineate down that line of that list, that long list of applicants that we're going to give money to, these are the things that we go through.
not even for the money. It's even again, vying for that last spot. When we've closed admissions and we've got an influx and a surplus of applications, and we've only got certain seats, and if you need housing, certain beds available, it gets pretty competitive. Again, it's a selection process.
It's a
Even
selection
though it
process,
has been automated a lot, it's a
right?
selection process. It's
Right.
a
So here's
So
a
again, those are
question.
some of the things that you want to prepare yourself with. Andy, you had a comment?
Absolutely. A question is, why don't more parents, faculty, staff talk about this, let alone know about it?
Now, Andy, now here we are. We out. The family is out on a public picnic. Now, you know that is a topic that will get us riled up, and we will talk about it because welcome to the Real University, where we talk about the real things, the real instances that parents and students go through when going through this college experience. I could give an answer. Tyan, I'm sure, would give a very loaded answer. My short answer is there's not enough time in the day, and folks are overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And we have people who are not necessarily completely knowledgeable in certain spaces giving the information. I'm gonna be very honest. Tyan, give your answer.
My perspective is we are telling them. We're telling them when we visit you in person. We're telling you when we come to your
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
school. We're telling you at the college fairs. So again, that's also a benefit. Come out and meet us. Come out and meet
mhm.
us, because that's the information that we're going to give you when we say, especially when students approach you and say, can I get admitted on the spot? On the
Mm.
spot admissions is slowly dwindling away.
Is it?
Slowly dwindling away. Yes. So again,
Mm,
we'll tell you those things. It's like, I'm here to give you the information that you need about the university, but slowly on the spot, admissions is dwindling away, especially for those schools that are kind of raising their competitive bar, making it a little harder for them to get it, for students to get in. But
mhm.
we are sharing that information. Just be equipped to ask the question, but sometimes we don't know the questions to ask, and that's why we're here. But
That's why
if
we're
you
here.
do call the university and say, you know what, I noticed in your application requirements you didn't mention ACT and SAT scores, or you've mentioned that it's ACT SAT optional, does that hinder me from getting a scholarship? Ask the
Does that
question.
hinder me from getting a scholarship?
So
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
so tidbit number one. Number two, in the college application process,
Mhm.
we know in the early stages you may have many choices. You again want to make sure that you're applying to as many schools as possible, because of course you want to have a backup plan, or you just don't know, or in your mind these schools are competing for you. But
Mhm.
keep in mind that unless you have fee waivers, the amount of schools that you are going to apply to is going to rack up a bill even before you get in there.
Mhm.
At
Mhm.
minimum, application processing fees are about 50 to $125 a pop. And they have to be paid before we even evaluate your
Your
application.
application.
So
Yeah.
again, think about that. Or the other option is to ask for fee waivers. You can ask for fee waivers from your counselors. You can ask for fee waivers from the recruitment officer when you're in public or when you're in
Keyword
front of
here
them. So
is
again,
fee waivers. Fee waivers. Things because we're here
fee
to bring you
waivers.
information that they're not going to tell you, but you need to know.
Y'all over here preaching. Y'all
And
better say
again, with that
something.
Common App, you've listed all of these schools, but you haven't paid the application fee for every school that you listed on the Common App. So if you haven't paid an application fee for them, and sometimes they'll say, the Common App, if you just pay this one fee, it covers it all. That's exactly why a lot of a lot of institutions don't subscribe to it, because they're not getting the additional funding from the application fee.
Now it's
So
starting to
again,
make
make sure you
sense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
check to see if that school is on the Common App or the Black Common App.
Makes sense. So I guess that kind of feeds
So,
into that whole choosing the right college, the
okay, so
preparation,
then
the deadlines.
we
Yeah,
talked
man.
about the application process. Let's talk about honing in on your decisions. I'm one, since I've been in the
That part.
space, in state or out of state, you are, just make sure that it's on your radar. So by the time the end of your sophomore year, your early junior year comes around, you've kind of had something to evaluate these campuses on, if the campus life is most important in your decision. So
True.
what you can do is plan visits. Some key advice that I give, especially when I had to go through the process with my own child, is take advantage of these breaks. So you got a spring break. Take spring break probably in a state where there's multiple schools that you want to visit. Take advantage of local holidays. I'm based out of the Chicago area. We have something called Pulaski Day. All right. So basically, it ends up being a 4-day weekend. That's usually in the springtime. I'm originally not from Chicago, so that Pulaski Day kind of took me for a loop. But the kids get a day off of school from that. So with that, take that as an opportunity to go and visit campuses. Dare I say it, Columbus Day. If some of the campuses are open, because I know there's been a shift to Indigenous Peoples Day and things like that. If campuses are open, take that as an opportunity to explore campuses then. Also, check with your counselors, because sometimes they will give you days to do your college exploration without penalizing you for attendance. Like I
Here's a
said, take
question
advantage
that the
of
fold is
spring
asking.
breaks. Take advantage of even your Christmas breaks. That doesn't hit, just because the students aren't there does not mean that administration isn't there up until the last possible minute. So again, use your breaks wisely to go and, take a look at some of these campuses and see, because you really do, want a very well-rounded, well-informed, well-informed
visual, like
portion to help you make your decision.
Correct.
Here's a question from the fold
visual,
about that.
Actually
We have a
understanding whether or
question.
not they're going to
We
meet
have
your
a question from the fold about that. So
We
a
got a
question
question
just
about
came out about that is, are virtual tours just as effective? Because we all wait. Hold on. These are typos, though. Y'all stop doing that. Are virtual
okay.
tours just as effective? And I believe what they're asking for are virtual tour. That's a good point. We're in the virtual world now. So can a virtual tour of a college campus be just as effective?
Can I get my short answer? They'll show you what they want you to see. They'll show you what they want you to see. It's just like a hotel that really has 5 stars online, but you get there, you like, this is a 1.5. They're only going to show you what they want you to see. So if you know that you're particular, remember, this is somewhere you're going to be living most of your days outside of your summer and your winter break. You want to be comfortable in that space. Some of these schools have new dorms. Some of these schools have old dorms. If you're a freshman going in, you might be going to an old dorm. Is that where you want to go? You got to think about it. So virtual tours, I think that virtual is great for some things, but the reality of it is you want to be comfortable where you'll be living because that's going to be your new home.
Cool points on that one. Great response. Hope y'all got that.
And to add to that, again, going to campus is a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
Those virtual tours, they may have a stock photo or they may just literally have, drone in the moment of whoever's on campus. 9 times out of 10, they're not going inside of the dining hall. You're not seeing the dining hall staff. 9 times out of 10, you may not be able to see inside of the classroom and actually see a professor in action. Again, I'll say this. If you're looking for an online experience and that's where where you draw the line, it could be. But again, if you're going away to college, especially, you want to make sure that, to Mia's point, you're comfortable because this is going to be your home for the next 3 to 4 months in that first semester.
True.
So again, and then also, I think, that was a good question about the virtual aspect of everything, because again, some of the things that may have changed since a lot of us have, attended school. Even when I was working on my postgraduate degree, I was in that hybrid space, but some people may prefer, to take classes online. That's not necessarily a bad thing if that's, conducive to how you learn. Also, it opens it up because a lot of professors now are not tenured. They're adjuncts. So they're teaching from different places around the nation, actually even around the world. So again, to allow you to get a very well-rounded experience from a professor that is probably, an expert in that area, and they want to bring that to the campus, that might not be a bad option. Sometimes as a freshman, you'll get the best of both worlds. But my thoughts on a virtual education is, if I'm paying all of this money to go to a school, I want to experience it all. And another tidbit for y'all: say you are in Virginia and you decide you want to go to the University of Michigan, but you're taking all online classes. Guess what tuition you're paying? Out of state.
Out of state. Say it again. Out of state.
Keep game in the chat room. Some questions have been raised up. Some fingers have been pointed. Talk to us about that, Mia. What do you see in the chat?
I see Mr. Jimmy Howard asking, will applying early give me a leg up in admission? Will applying early give me a leg up in admission?
How so? That's a good question. That's a great question.
And actually it would. And because actually some schools actually accept based off of your transcripts from the ending of your junior year. It's a conditional admit. You still have to make sure you get that final transcript in, but you can be admitted based off of your academics. And again, we just talked about testing optional up until your junior year. But again, that's still conditional. It's conditional. It's an acceptance. It's an acceptance. And then again, we also know, like I said, sometimes we come down to the last minute. So you can get accepted, but you're not going to be admitted until you finally give that last transcript. And then even once you're admitted, that doesn't guarantee you a spot until you pay that deposit. That deposit is what holds your seat.
Correct.
And generally there are two. There's your intent, and then again, if you're coming from out of state, or if you're looking to or seeking on-campus housing, there's a housing deposit. So again, you can be admitted, but they're not gonna process anything until you satisfied all of the conditions. And sometimes with a conditional admit, it's just not the It's just not the final transcript. It could be, you know what, I took a look at your essay and you were a little weak in here. I want to see, can you send me another writing sample? Right. So I'll admit you conditionally until I see that other writing sample.
Fair enough.
Because another tidbit, especially with our HBCUs, a lot of the times you might be in that category where you fell just short of the basic admission requirements, but we saw something in you. And again, this is where those test scores come in. You may have had a horrible time in school, but for some odd reason or another, you got damn near 1,600 on the SAT. So I'm looking at that like, we might have a genius that just had something going on here. Does that mean that this person is not necessarily ready for college? No.
Right.
So again, I can look at some things and I can say on a sliding scale, let me pick up the phone, let me call the student, let me gauge their interest, let me find out what's going on. You could have a 4.0. And when I looked at your essay, it was full of typos, mistakes with grammar, all kinds of things. And I'm saying to myself, well, how did this person get a 4.0? Let me pick up the phone and see what's going on here. So again, that's where those instances where those conditional admits are coming in, because again, sometimes there's a story behind the full application process. And those are the little small things that can make or break, what the next phase of your life as far as college is.
Absolutely. So to one of our biggest things that we love to talk about on the Real Reel, we talk about the importance of planning and advocating for yourself, scheduling and communication. Most of our topics always surround those areas. So to you, Jimmy, applying early gives you an opportunity to be able to communicate with people who you basically are putting your education in their hands, and for them to develop for you to take advantage of being able to develop a rapport with them, because that rapport and that relationship could result in a lot of things. I know for Tyann, that resulted in a job after she graduated because she stayed so connected to her, to those who she came in through that process. So yes, admission, it does give you a leg up in multiple spaces, a time to advocate, time to communicate, time to just plan yourself accordingly, budget your funding, all of those things. So yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah. I want to send a wonderful shout out to all the parents out there who took their kids out of college and sent them to a trade school because they did not have this type of information going in. Can we say
kudos to you, parents? Don't you do it.
Let me actually interject in on that. No.
Come on.
So, you know what? There's nothing wrong with learning a trade.
Nope.
And I'll say this. Certain things to prepare you. So I'm an advocate for community college and trade schools in two instances as supplements to your 4-year baccalaureate degree. So let's talk about planning a little bit. So you get in there and you've got summer break. You've got a couple opportunities at community colleges. You got about 3 opportunities between the spring and summer in community colleges to supplement your year.
Yep.
So sometimes you like, well, there's some classes that I have that may be really, really hard. So I'm just going to take them at a community college where they're a little cheaper
and easier.
The grade might not transfer, but at least the credits did. And I'm not running the risk of failing because, did y'all know that anything less than a C in college is failing? And you have to take it over? You cannot get a D. D is not passing. So again, if you're like one of those very, very hard classes where you're going to struggle, go ahead and take that at a community college. Another thing, going back to the trade school aspect of it, some of these trade programs are only 6 weeks long.
And amazing.
So in that time that you've spent over the summer,
right,
you can go ahead and enroll yourself in a program that's going to get you that side hustle money. And
talk about it.
Being an electrician in 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And no longer need a loan for school.
True.
Talk about it.
Before you go back in the fall. So again, these are some little tactics that we don't think about on the norm because college is all academia. Well, college is what's preparing you for the next phase of your life. It's one of
Mm-hmm.
those, it's a transitional period. So
Mm-hmm.
again, if you have an opportunity to do so much more and maximize the time that you're there, why not do it?
Why not do it?
Why not do it? Why not do it?
Why
Why
not
not
get
do
in,
it?
get
And
right? I want to definitely thank everybody who's chiming in. This is a great
Anything
discussion
else coming
topic,
in from the
folks.
chat?
Not at this moment. It's going to liven up here in a little bit, folks. Go ahead and spread this link around, folks, like it's a bad rumor. Let it be known that we are in this thing. We're giving some good game and some real discussion topics on the Real Real University. Mia Ferguson, Auntie Tayan, and the Uncle Life Coach AB is up in the building, man. We are hitting this thing all across the face, and I hope that your finances are listening just like you are too. Let's get these
and
folks back in school and get some good education. Let's talk about this some more.
And before we even, let's just reiterate real quick, because I love to talk about the reason why we're here. The Real World University is here to discuss topics that are not discussed during the college process with parents and students. I think that we are so appreciative of all of the resources that are shared via social media, scholarships, grants, um, private, there's some private funding, whatever it is that's being discussed as far as how to pay, because obviously that's the biggest bulk, right? That's the biggest thing that people are concerned about. How do we pay for school? The Real Real is here to discuss how you advocate for yourself during school, how you deal with the ins and outs of school, how you handle and manage your family situation while your children are in school. The dynamics change. You go from paying mortgage to tuition, which is like a mortgage. How do you facilitate those things? So we're here to bring that information that no one else really discusses when it comes to that college experience. So today we're bringing to you those ins and outs, because when I tell you Tyon knows, and we call them Tyon tidbits. Tyon's tidbits about how to maneuver through this college experience is like no other. It is appreciative. We cannot even begin to tell you how many times we get phone calls. I done called a couple of colleges in the last couple of days myself, advocating just to show students and parents, these are the questions you have to ask. Because if you don't ask, I've heard these individuals from these schools say, we don't tell you.
That part.
They won't tell you. And I'm just like, well, are we setting them up for success? Or are we trying to give them failure before they even walk through the door? So that's why we're here. So we're going to continue to move through it, because I know our next topic we are very passionate about, and a lot of you have been affected by. And you know what I'm about to talk about. Tanya, what you about to talk about?
Well, exactly. That's where I was going. That's why I said, did we want to let a few people come in before we start talking about the money?
If
But
they're
We
not ready to
always
go,
late to the money, and this needs to be heard.
This needs
Hit
to
them
be
across
heard.
the head, tell the truth, shame the devil, and they need to know. Just listen, folks. Pass the mic, pass the link, share the wealth, because that's what we're doing. The platform is here with the Real Real University right here on social media platforms. Let's get it. Let's talk about these dollars.
Talk about the dollars. Talking about the dollars.
All right. So one of the most disappointing things this year that I'm not even sure how long it's going to take to fix or clean up, but unfortunately this class of 2018, or because you know we go in increments of 4 years, or this incoming freshman class of 2024, or the returning students into 2024, or the transfer students 2024, or the foreign students 2024 will have to face is the mishaps with the Department of Education and the FAFSA.
Oh, Lord.
While they thought that they were doing everything in their power to streamline the process, make it easier, take some concessions, take other financial means into consideration and things like that. Now, while the intention was good, the execution was terrible. So it has affected a lot of aid packages. Okay, so I am a numbers junkie. I have been a fan of business practices, commerce, capitalism, all of that since my sophomore year of high school. So when you take that economics class, and everything that is going on right now is affecting your financial decisions, the pool of money that is available to you, how long the money that you will be able to grasp stretches, all depends on this economy. I'm also say this is an election year. Trying to get money around the election year, everybody's talking about all of the budget cuts, depending on which side of the fence gets in office and who's advocates of public education and public funding determines what pool of money that is available to all of us. And of course, if it's available to the public, I don't care if you're rich or you're poor. I don't care what your financial situation is. If you feel like you paid into that system, you feel like you should be able to get something out of it, right?
Truth.
So
Absolute
therein
truth.
lies that pool of money that is available from that FAFSA. So because of all of the technical issues, all of the new intricacies that they did not thoroughly explain, some of these financial aid packages weren't even awarded until about a month ago. Now, to that parent that asked, how early can my student apply and is it to an advantage? You can apply as early as possible. You can be admitted as early as possible. But a lot of people are holding their trump cards based on how much money they get to go to selected schools. Say you were that student that has a full Uno hand of schools.
The Quinceañera flag is what I like to call it.
Not the Quinceañera.
They got
you're
more
making your decision
logos
based
and
off of how much aid or how much money, how much free money, whatever you want to call it, that you're going to get. You're making your decision by how much the tuition fees, room and board cost at another school. Like I said, you got an Uno hand. I got Howard. I got FAMU. I've got Michigan State. I've got University of Chicago. Okay, what am I going to do here?
Come on.
So again, it all boils down to what they're going to offer you. Now, the FAFSA is what you have to fill out to be basically considered for any funding that's coming directly from the school, including some of those scholarships that you're going to apply for. So again, tidbits on scholarships. You want to test, and actually a lot of them will require you to have a FAFSA on file because they want to be able to see what your financial need is.
Right.
So again, making sure that FAFSA is done is critical if you're looking for any types of money. So again,
it's kind of like your golden ticket into Willy Wonka's world. You can't get in unless you have that FAFSA completed.
Very
you
good.
Need your golden ticket.
So I'm gonna go off on a quick tangent really quick about the FAFSA and that being your golden ticket. Parents, what needs to be done in order to fill out the FAFSA?
Number one,
file your
taxes, please.
That part, yes, because they're going to ask what your income is
immediately, and that's the only way they're going to prove it. It's through that FAFSA, through those taxes that were filed, and there's no quick way to get around filing your taxes. So you must file. You cannot go to the reverse.
Actually, Mia, there is a way to get around it, but it's going to come back and bite you because they still can't give you an award until they see it. Now, you can buy yourself some time. So say you've filled out the FAFSA and you hadn't filed your taxes and you still got a window to get them done. And remember, the tax deadline is April 15th anyway. So again, but you wanted to fill that FAFSA out literally when it opened. Now, that was the other thing. Typically, the FAFSA opened around October 1st. This time, the FAFSA was supposed to open December 1st, but it really didn't open until the 15th. And then there were so many bugs, they shut it down and then they opened it back up, but didn't tell people when they opened it back up.
Can you imagine college campuses right now? Because what these students and these parents are going through right now, trying to figure this out. So this is why we're bringing this to our parents of high school students, so you can understand all of the different walls that may be presented. We need you to be prepared because, like Tyon said, you didn't get a notification. It wasn't an alert. They weren't posted on social media. So unless you paid attention to those deadlines, and you could, because I remember Tyon was checking that website every single day. Every single day. And I said, I said, every day? She said, because we don't know when. And then one day it disappeared. It was open.
Yeah.
And the reason why, and I'm going to give you guys a quick story. So even though my mother was a single mom, one kid, back in the day, I never qualified for financial aid. So after the first year, she stopped applying. This new FAFSA was the golden apple for me, because now it was supposed to be more friendly to single parents with one kid. So I'm like, oh, I can finally get a piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
You best believe I was on there every day.
Yeah.
Right.
Because again, I have a junior. So the first 2 years, we got nothing but, well, I'm not gonna say we didn't get anything. We got something, but it wasn't free money,
It
it was
wasn't free money.
loans.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think all of us at the Real Real have a take on student loans. And I think we all stand and agree, touch and agree. Let everybody say amen, that we try to
Amen.
stay far clear away from loans.
Amen. I
Especially
say.
in, let's take it full circle, in this economy right now where the interest rates are booty sky high.
Because just because they're not saying it doesn't mean that we're not in it, and we are definitely in a recession.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got
So
to talk
again,
about
the
that. We get those
factors,
forgivenesses available. We got to bring that up another topic.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
the factors of the economy, because again, parents, I know that first financial aid packet, the first thing they're going to supplement it with is loans. They're also going to talk about the Parent Plus loan. They're going to talk about, the subsidized and the unsubsidized loans. Regardless of the fact, it's a loan. And the interest, even though you won't have to pay Parent Plus loans, the payments begin immediately. Subsidized and unsubsidized loans through the federal government, you don't have to pay until you stop going to school. And stop going to school can mean a couple things. You can graduate or you stop going to school. So
I want you to come
that
back to that.
again, but
I
there's
want you to
lots
come
to
back.
look into.
Tyon, come back real quick because I need people to really understand this, because this
Mm-hmm.
is what happens. And we talk about this again, the conversations that we have in a real space. You are at the school, you're under the impression that you have what you need. You need a couple of thousand more dollars. The first thing that they're going to throw at you is the Parent Plus loan. Why? Because historically, students don't always pay back their student loans. So they rather collect that money while you're in school,
Yeah.
trying to get out,
Yeah.
as opposed to when you're out of school.
Hey, that's truth.
Please remember this. The money that they offer, they're going to start with what you pay back first. You have to ask, what are my other options? What are my other options? You even have payment plan options. You don't have to come up with that $10,000 that for that first year all at one time. You can say, can I get a deferred payment? Can I get this? Can I have this? Can you do this? But before you go into those offices and they throw another bill at you that you're not ready for, because it's going to happen. Start with asking the questions, what are my options? Parent Plus loans, the subsidy loans, the Pell grants. There's a couple of other things that they're going to offer before they offer you that money that you won't have to pay back. Just saying it out.
Now,
Listen, folks.
again, evaluating your financial aid package when it comes through and asking questions about it is key. But I want to go back to something Mia that said before. So the Parent Plus loan, there are also loans that are available for students, but a lot of the times you don't have a credit history established. So what does that do? That jacks your interest rate up again. Let me throw a little gem out here for you guys. I'll say this: if you know that your kid wants to go to college, or you've been planning for your kid to go to college for years, in that 9th grade year, avoid buying a new car, avoid buying a new house, because those are the things that are going to affect your credit when it's time to help finance their education. Because there's a couple of things that you can do as an alternate. If you do have some equity in your home, before you take out a Parent Plus loan, think about pulling some money out of your home. Then here's a newfangled one for you guys. If your credit is good and you don't have too many inquiries on it, get you a brand new 0% APR credit card with a high balance for at least 18 months and charge that tuition. Pay it off when you can, because again, you got at least 18 months before an interest rate kicks in.
Yeah, somebody should rewind this video right here to get that one more time. Because that's some
So
real
again,
right
make
there.
sure that you and make sure you're not tapping your credit out or and exhausting your credit during that period of time where your kid is going to school. And kudos to those parents who are going to try to put stair steps in college at the same time.
God
You
bless
got
your
a
hearts.
senior, a
Yeah.
junior, and a sophomore, and y'all got to figure all of this out because the new
Okay.
FAFSA does not favor that anymore.
Good deal.
But what the new FAFSA
Right.
does do is it says, you know what, grandma, stepma, y'all want to help out? We can
Mm-hmm.
evaluate their financial situations to see how much they can help. So again, just these are a few things, because what you want to do is you actually want to plan out from the rooter to the tutor, from the first year to the last year. We always say 4 years, but again, I was with a couple of alumni this weekend that was having a new student send off, and we talked about it. Like certain majors, 4 years, of course, is the ideal scenario, but certain majors, engineering, minimum is 5.
Right.
So
Minimum
plan your
is
money
5.
for how long you plan to be there.
Yeah.
One of my key pieces of advice is most schools will give you a flat rate of tuition and fees that covers between 12 and 18 credits. My
Mhm.
advice is always to max out those credits each semester. Again, depending
Yep.
on what you can handle, or if you cannot and you feel like, academically, I might just need to take a break or something, that's where that community college supplement comes in. Again, you want
Absolutely.
to evaluate every dollar, because what we're looking at tuition fees, room and board, and all of that, but we're not looking at transportation costs to get us back and forth. We're not looking at whether or not we're a commuter student and what that costs to get me back and forth. We're not looking at, what, I just got sick of cafeteria food. I want
Mm-hmm.
I want a decent meal from someplace. Those are all key costs, and actually, those are key costs that are factored into your financial aid package. They're looking
Yeah.
at what your cost of living as a student is going to be as well. So again, transportation, other room and board, food, equipment. Some of you, I'm not sure if you guys have used laptops or if you use desktops in high school. You're going to need a laptop when you get in there. If you don't already
Mm-hmm.
have one, you've got to purchase it. And this is another just a piece of advice. Christmas time, before your kid goes to school, they might have a nice little Christmas list. Make sure that Christmas list includes necessities for college. That's the time to get the laptop.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time to get the trunk. That's the
Mm-hmm.
time to start buying the
Listen,
sheets.
Mm-hmm.
listen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Somewhere
your
where you
gift
are,
this year is what you need to go to college.
tax
Right.
free
Or
weekend is
that might
upon
be, you know what? I'm just gonna give you a cash donation, and I'm gonna tuck it away in an IRA, or I'm gonna tuck it away in a high yield CD for 6 months, so I can get 5% on top of this little money that I already have to help you finance that education. And I don't want to
us.
sound
And I
preachy,
know.
but again, if you know from the moment your child was born, you plan on sending them to college, even if they are a genius, you cannot rely on their academic prowess to get the money, because sometimes it just don't come in. You need a backup plan. They could come in, they could have been straight 4.0, 1600 SAT, AC, 26 ACT score, get in there, got all the money. And then something clicks when they get there and they lose the scholarship. You
Mm-hmm.
have to have that backup plan. So again, let's start looking at our own finances. Let's start making the sacrifices for them if that's what we want to do. Or you could be the kind of parent that says, you know what, it's time for them to grow up. So start having the conversations with them on how they can help finance their education as well. Another
Because
another tidbit, a lot of these entry level jobs that they would get in high school, depending on where they work. I know Burger King, they offer tuition reimbursement. A
yep.
Starbucks, they offer tuition reimbursement. Get in those places and start working in those places before you graduate high school. It's an easy transition. You could even work at, one of those restaurants that's in that area, but you're still continuing to get that tuition assistance. So these are just some
Hospitals
little
do
things
too.
to help, because again, now affordability with the economy, and again, depending on who gets in office and where they are with educational funding, college is definitely going to be a privilege again.
It's
going to be a privilege.
And I know that our conversation is targeted towards more of our parents who have kids who are either freshmen in high school preparing, or seniors in high school preparing to go to college. But one thing I like to say all the time, and Andy and Tyann can attest to this, just because, let's just say you get the money, don't stop applying for it.
Right.
You can get scholarships that are technically just for equipment. Your cell phones, your iPads, your laptops, all the things you need. You can get scholarships that are just for books, right? You can get scholarships that are, now there's scholarships that cover your travel. I've seen those. And so definitely pay attention. No, seriously, for students who travel, because you have a lot of international students who leave their homeland to come to this country.
It's so sad that we forget about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
You know, so there's a lot of different things. I know one of our topics that we discussed is how to travel and utilizing the discounts. There's a lot of things that we discussed, though. That's why we wanted to bring this conversation to the table. I think that there's so many resources out there to discuss all of the grants and the scholarships and their books and their links and their checks, and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook are full of them. And that's beautiful. We try to follow all of those platforms on our page so that they're in one space. But the reality of it is, unless you know how to utilize the information, unless you have the tidbits, it's like Cliff Notes. It's like Cliff Notes, right? Cliff Notes, they don't tell you the whole book, but they're going to give you a summary. We're here to give you those things that the other resources just don't give you, because they're being great at what they're great at. And we understand that there's a lot of conversation that we have that we just want to make sure that you're aware of. So if you're applying for scholarships, keep applying for those scholarships, because your career, like Tyann said, it could go from 4 years to 5 years. Quickly. I have friends who I call professional college students. They went from 4 to 5 to masters to PhD they kept going on certifications. So you want to make sure that you write it down, figure it out. This is what my plan is. And then you sit down with your family. You have the conversation. Can we afford this? Are we going the community college route because it's more affordable? It gives us more time to plan financially. Think about these things, because if you don't, you will have yourself under a level of stress and duress. The college experience is fun, but it's also, there's some stress that comes with it. We don't want you to have that. We want you to enter into this realm of your life with clarity. So that's why we're here to say that. So I know we were wrapping up on resources for finding scholarships and things like that, Tyann, but again, Tyann's tangents and Tyann's tips, we appreciate them all, because
it's very necessary.
It's very necessary.
So ladies, I'm going to encourage you, postpone that girls trip. Make sure your babies get in order. Fellas, I'm going to encourage you, put down the fantasy football league. Make sure your babies get in order so that we can do what we got to do for the next gen to line them up for the best success for their future and for ours.
And that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. So if we have no more questions in our chat, we would like to thank folks for joining us. Once again, we'd like to thank the Steve Marjorie Harvey Foundation for supporting the RealReel University, bringing this real information to parents and students in real time about their college experience. Please make sure you like, Andy, help me out, like, follow, share the RealReel University to maintain the relationship with your HBCU uncle and aunties. We are here to support you in all of the things that you do as you aspire to get your child from high school to college, through college, into life. That's what we're here for.
And until later, continue to log in, continue to listen, and continue to learn from the family. We out of here.
Absolutely.
Bye, y'all.
Village out.